about the need to accelerate action. So, towards accelerating action, which is the need of the hour, help us and members of the audience understand the kind of efforts that TERI is undertaking.
Thanks, Tina, for that question. And it's always difficult to come at the last because you're almost summing up what everyone has said. But I would still like to, say a few things on what the experience has been so far as regulator is concerned, because I've worked with the Bureau of Energy Efficiency also, and I've worked on the implementation side also. So, we all know that, as you also said in your introductory remarks, that India is urbanizing at a very, very fast pace, and in the next 30-40 years, we will see that a lot of our rural population will be living out of the urban spaces in search of livelihood, in search of comforts, food, and I think a lot of it is happening already. So what is happening in terms of buildings is that we have codes and standards on one side where we have the Energy Conservation Building Code, which was launched in 2007, and after that most of the states have adopted it. And not only the conservation code, I think if you look at it from point of view of renewables also, I think a lot of push from the Ministry of New and Renewables also to give a greater push to adopting renewables in the residential as well as commercial buildings. Similarly, it goes for waste, air, and how we are managing our sites. So, codes and standards are still sorted because this is the work that will give a lot of evidence to the work that happens in the state. But most of the implementation, as you all have heard, that it happens at the state level, and that is where we need very robust regulatory mechanisms where of course GIA is doing its bit by implementing the GIA code, where we have embedded most of these codes and standards into our ratings. But I think one of the challenge what we have always seen while implementation in the states is that the state lack that infrastructure or the capacity to build that kind of capacity in the state. So I think that is supported to some extent by these a concept called the energy conservation building cells, and the way the capacities are getting built. But I still feel that there are two kinds of professionals that definitely need an upgrade. One is, of course, the existing cadre where we will have to really work very extensively with the state government departments, with the agencies that are working, with the existing architects, with the existing consultants that are already there. But then there is another set of cadre that is still the future cadre. That is where the focus has to be even more. And that is where even RIA is focusing, and we are working very extensively with Council of Architecture and the colleges. We are signing up with them, and we are ensuring that whatever we could do in ensuring that their curricula could be enhanced, and also ensuring that their capacities are built by the time they are future ready professionals. That is another area that will need a lot of impetus from the government. Second, of course, the discussion around that green buildings cost more. So this has been going on for quite some time, but we also have to see that this can also come down by the kind of information that we provide in the public domain, which means that it is not only the kind of work that we do, the kind of case studies that we produce, because there's a lot of work that has already happened. So I think we need to go out, the government will have to put out a lot of work in the public domain, because buildings are different from appliances. It is very easy to measure efficiencies at appliance level, but when it comes to buildings, there are very few measuring, monitoring mechanisms, and I feel that we have been lacking in developing these frameworks over years, and we have always believed in the work that we have done in the Sustainable Buildings Group that measuring and evaluating the processes at each level is something that is extremely critical to the process of sustainability. So, as the philosophy of NIA is that what gets measured gets managed is something will have to be followed at all levels. The third, I think the next point, which is of course another link to this whole jigsaw puzzle, is also the information on materials and how technologies have come up, and we've touched upon how chillers and how technologies can of course be that plug-in. I think a very important point raised by Ministry Change short is on the LCA. We have for a very long time been talking only on the operational side of energy, and we have always looked at it from active measures. But what about looking at it from the passive side, and how the designs and how we can look at it from the material side? So the lack of information on materials and how designs, they play a very critical role in bringing down the initial cost of construction and ensuring that the green buildings can be built in a cost which is affordable, is something that will have to also be looked at very seriously now. And I think Neha has already made that first step of building that concept of LC and LCC in its rating. And through our research work as well as at TERI, we are also looking at developing further on, the developing comforts, because affordability is also linked to how we are going to be looking future houses, how the future houses are going to be built in.